All right, we'll go ahead and call to order the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners meeting here in Elko on Saturday, June 25th, 2016, just after 9 a.m. with video feeds to Reno and Las Vegas. Good morning to everyone. Before we get started, Commissioner Bliss, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jeremy?
Suzanne, could you please call the roll of the commissioners?
Chairman Drew.
Here.
Vice Chairman Wallace.
Here.
Commissioner Bliss.
Here.
Commissioner Hubbs.
Commissioner Hubbs will be excused absence today.
Commissioner Johnston.
Here.
Commissioner McNinch.
Here.
Commissioner Morey.
Here.
Commissioner Valentine.
Here.
And Commissioner Young.
Here.
Right. County Advisory Board members here in Elko, if you could please stand up, give us your name and the county you're representing. Gil, we'll start with you.
Gil Liana, Carson.
Bud Butch, Mineral. Joe Freeland, Virgin. Jay Washout.
Paul Dixon, Clark. Aubrey Jones, Douglas.
Jim Cooney, Elko.
Bert Gurr, Elko.
Okay, thank you all. Are there any County Advisory Board members in Reno?
None in Reno.
Or Elko, or Las Vegas?
No, none in Vegas.
Thank you. With that, we'll close agenda item number 13. And before we go to agenda item number 14, we do have a commissioner appreciation that Secretary Wassley and I will take care of. Commissioners Bliss and Commissioner Morey will be recognized for their years of service to the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners. And I'm going to jump up to the podium for a little bit of a presentation here. So give me a moment. These are never real easy ways to start off meetings, especially when you spend a few years together on a commission like this where it seems like sometimes it's you against the world and you're just trying to do your best. But today's going to be particularly tough, knowing that it's Pete and Chad's last meeting. They've been two great commissioners, so I wanted to take a few minutes just to recognize their service and thank them for everything they've done for the state and our wildlife. And in the meantime, I'll try and keep it together. But Pete and Chad, there's a few things about them that I could say together. And first of all, I wanted to thank the Morey family for hosting us last night here in Elko. It was a great event and an opportunity for us to just relax and have a good time and visit a little bit and be social. Sometimes we take those things for granted. I also want to thank the Morey family. I know they're here today just for Pete's time on this commission. I know what it takes to be away from your family, to travel, to be getting phone calls at all hours of the day and night, to be reading emails when you probably shouldn't be. So thank you to the Morey family for giving us such a great man for a few years. Same thing to the Bliss family. Chad, I don't know if they're here today, but please tell your family just how much we thank them and appreciate their sacrifice for letting us have you here for a few years to help us out. Together, they're both going to be missed for both their knowledge, their demeanor, and their passion. There's maybe one thing that I won't miss, and that's the Las Vegas meetings. They're kind of travel companions, and they get to Las Vegas, and I don't think neither one of them lives within 50 miles of a stoplight. And so I'm always a little bit worried when we get down to Vegas that they're going to make it to the meeting on time. But I'll tell you what, they're pretty smart about getting around even in the big city. So I guess that's the one thing I won't have to worry about. But I've joked with them a couple times that we should get them name tags that say Commissioner Bliss and Commissioner Morey representing rural Nevada, USA. And we joke about that a little bit, but I think I would wear that with a badge of honor because both of them are men of few words, but big actions. They may not be the most talkative on the commission, but I can tell you one thing, when they say something, you better listen because it's going to be intelligent and it's going to come from a genuine place without an agenda. Both of them have represented their constituents well, whether it be ranching or sportsmen, but I will say that they've also been tremendous representatives for anyone who appreciates Nevada, its culture, its history, and its future. I would say that both of these gentlemen will leave here today with me being friends for life. And one way that I judge a good friend is we can have a disagreement and fight each other tooth and nail, knock down, drag out. And at the end of the meeting, we can shake each other's hand, look each other in the eye, and say, we'll see you next meeting. And there's no hard feelings. And I would count both of them as friends and an inspiration to me personally. So with that, I'll break it up a little bit. Commissioner Morai, I'll start with you. But a couple years ago, I actually had a chance to spend some time out with Pete and his family at their family ranch. And I can tell you firsthand, they're unbelievable stewards of the land. They've got an incredible knowledge of the land, how to manage it, and its wildlife. And the thing about Pete that really impresses me is, even though he probably knows more than anyone in this room on a lot of that stuff, he's always learning. He's always asking questions. He always listens first, talks second. He has a deep care for his family, the land, its wildlife, and his neighbors and members of this commission. He served as the livestock representative, but I truly believe that he could have served in any one of these positions represented on the commission. Commissioner Morai truly represents and embodies everything that this commission stands for. I think one of the things that I truly appreciate that probably goes unrecognized is his belief and support of the process. I've seen him many times put others' interests ahead of his, and I don't know that he's missed a county advisory board meeting in the time that he's been on this commission. And that is impressive. Again, he represents and embodies everything that is great about the commission, about Nevada, its wildlife, its heritage, and its future. So Pete, with that, I'd ask you to come up. We're able to get a nice plaque and a photo here for you. And you had mentioned a special place and a sage grouse select that's up near your place. And so we were able to get a few pictures for you. And it says, the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners recognizes Pete Morai with appreciation for your ability to represent and demonstrate the conservation ethic common among responsible sportsmen and livestock operators, which improves the quality of life for all citizens and visitors to Nevada. Commission service July 1, 2007 to June 30th, 2010, and December 19, 2012 to June 30th, 2016. Pete, thank you for everything.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And with that, I'll turn it over to Director Wasley. I think he has a few words to say as well.
Commissioner Morai, I'd really like to express my gratitude to both you and your family for your time, your dedication. The seat that you sit in on this commission is not an easy one to sit in. You're constantly pulled in different directions. Chairman Drew spoke to the respect at the end of the day. You've seen a lot of these positions come and go in your tenure here. And I feel when you were first appointed, I was a field biologist in Elko and was excited for the Department of Wildlife and the Commission to have your representation. And I didn't imagine that I would be in the seat that I am now, having the opportunity to work with you in this capacity. But I think the one thing that you bring to the board that speaks to our ability to shake hands at the end of the day is integrity, and it's respect and it's trust. And we've been on different sides of challenging issues, and we've been pulled in different directions, but the integrity with which you represent your industry and sportsmen is commendable. And I want to thank both you and your family for their support and your time on the commission. And we have a plaque to honor you for that. The Nevada Department of Wildlife proudly recognizes and honors Commissioner Pete Morai for 6 years of dedicated service to the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners and for his many contributions for the betterment of the wildlife resources of the state of Nevada. Presented on this date, June 25th, 2016, by the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners and the Nevada Department of Wildlife in Elko, Nevada.
I think Pete's going to save a few comments towards the end of the meeting here, but if any of my other commissioners want to say a few things now, they're more than welcome to, or we can save them for later in the day. Commissioner Young.
Jeremy, you make a pretty good politician, I think.
I don't know if I take that as a compliment. I wouldn't.
I just wanted to chip in. I'm getting kind of senior in this board. It's hard to believe, but last year I was one term and out. I just really don't have the time to do this because of my occupation right now. And I was born in Yerington and fifth generation Nevadan, and I love rural Nevada. And it's hard for me to come up here, and I apologize for being late and stuff. But there's two people that talk me into staying another term, and the reason I love being on this commission is these people right here. Pete, the first time I met him, I saw his name there, Tuscarora, Nevada. My grandfather was born in Tuscarora. I said immediately I wanted to get to know this guy. And I can honestly say there's never been one motion or one statement that Pete's made that I didn't disagree with or I didn't vote with in 4.5 years I've been on the commission. And the thing I love about Pete, I wish I could do, was that he thinks, then he speaks. You always see that, and what he has to say is always prudent, and as you said, for the best interests of all of us in this state. And Pete, I'm going to really miss you. Just know that as long as I'm on the National Finals Rodeo Committee, those 2 tickets for you and Tammy are yours for life. Whenever you want to come to Las Vegas, I love having you down there. Chad, same for you. There's 2 people I'd love to have come to Vegas to the NFR because they love it. And I'm going to miss you both. Thank you.
Thanks. Additional commission comments?
I think I'm save for the end.
Saving it for the end? It's probably a good idea. All right, Commissioner Bliss, I'm going to be a wreck on this one too. I probably should have gone to the bar so I'd have an excuse for why I'm up here blundering around. But what can I say about Commissioner Bliss? Really, when you look at him, I mean, he's Superman. He's a commissioner. He's a father and a husband. He's been instrumental in implementing the Silver State Tag, and not only implementing it, but stewarding it to make tens of thousands of dollars, and maybe we're into the hundreds of thousands of dollars range by now for Nevada's wildlife. But more importantly, he provides that program provides a really unique opportunity to your average everyday Nevada sportsman. And I think Chad has embodied that. That's been kind of his guiding principle, to always make sure you take care and watch out for the little guy, the families that enjoy our wildlife, and that's commendable. We saw the videos yesterday with the Nevada Outdoorsmen in Wheelchairs and the program and everything that it's done and everything that it's meant to not only the participants but everyone involved with that. And I think everyone in the audience was pretty inspired by that video yesterday. So he can do it all. Maybe the only thing he can't do is use a turkey call, but I have a hunch he'll figure that one out real quick. I got to say that Commissioner Bliss is one of the most passionate, I think his word for it was hard-headed, but I'll use passionate, advocates for wildlife, and one of the most knowledgeable in the state. He has also been very true to the process. I think the process and listening to people has meant more to him sometimes than even the outcomes. And I'll tell you one thing, he probably talks to more people about these issues than all of us on the board combined, which is tough being in Eureka, but somehow you get it done. We're all grateful to for his service, thankful for his family and allowing us to have you for a few years here, and hope, and I know, that you won't be a stranger. I count Chad Bliss as a friend and an inspiration as well, and that ain't going to change after today. So Chad, come on up. We've also got a plaque with a few photos, and one of the things I didn't mention is that Chad was instrumental when he was on the Eureka Cab, and probably even before, getting some Pinyon Juniper projects planned, funded, and ultimately implemented. And so we've got a few photos of your PJ projects on here, and we've got the tag for Silver State, because I know how much dedication it's taken. But the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners recognizes Chad Bliss with appreciation for your talent in building communities and outdoor connections for many individuals challenged by life circumstances, and sharing your passion and commitment to Nevada's wildlife resources. Commission service July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2016. Chad, thank you for everything. Again, I'll turn it over to Director Wasley.
Chairman Drew mentioned several things that Commissioner Bliss is. One of the things he left off was comedian. He may not be the most vocal representative on the commission, but away from this venue, he's pretty damn funny. I think that from a department standpoint, looking at the role of Commissioner Bliss and what he's done, he's helped provide, in certain instances, he's helped provide that passion and dedication. He has a particularly strong interest in Cummins Lake, Ruby Lake. When we look at the marks, the imprint that Commissioner Bliss leaves behind, there's two things that come to mind, and Chairman Drew mentioned both of them. The Nevada Outdoorsman and Wheelchairs program, and the genesis of that was out of the kindness of his heart. Sitting on the commission, somebody came in and asked about the opportunities. He saw an opportunity, and it grew from there. And then the Silver State Tag program and the amount of money that brings in for on-the-ground projects is not trivial. So those are two huge programs that provide meaningful benefit today and tomorrow and into the future. And I just really want to thank Chad personally for the interest he's taken in the department that goes above and beyond the 7 meetings a year that he sits here. And I know that when I see Chad Bliss's name show up on my phone, if I don't have an hour clear, I won't even answer it. So thank you, Chad. We have a plaque acknowledging Chad for his time and effort as well. Proudly recognizes and honors Commissioner Chad Bliss for 3 years of dedicated service to the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners and for his many contributions for the betterment of the wildlife resources of the state of Nevada. Thanks, Chad.
I figured. All right, so Chad will make a couple comments later in the meeting, but anything else from the commissioners at this time? All right. All right. With that, appreciate everyone's indulgence, but I think it was well deserved to take some time this morning and really recognize the contributions of these two commissioners as well as everyone else up here. I really appreciate everyone's work. I've always said it, and I'll continue to say it, that this commission's most valuable resource in this department's most valuable resource is its people. We'll open item 14, approval of the agenda for possible action. The commission will review the agenda and may take action to approve the agenda. The commission may remove items from the agenda, continue items for consideration, or take items out of order. Any discussion or question on the agenda for today? Seeing none, this is a action item, so I'll open it up. Any county advisory board or public comment on item 14, approval of the agenda? and we'll switch it up a little bit today and go to Las Vegas first.
No. No comment, Chairman.
Thank you. And Reno?
Thank you.
No comment in Reno.
And in Elko? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Any further discussion on approval of the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Valentine, a second by Commissioner McNinch to approve today's agenda as presented. Is there any question or discussion on the motion? All those please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll close item 14 and open item 15. Member items, announcements, and correspondence. Informational. Commissioners may present emergent items. No action may be taken by the commission. Any item requiring commission action may be scheduled on a future commission agenda. The commission will review and may discuss correspondence sent or received by the commission since the last regular meeting and may provide copies for the exhibit file. Correspondence sent or received by Secretary Wadsley may also be discussed. Before we get too far into this, I did want to just take a moment as chair's privilege here to recognize one other individual who's with us today, and that's Senior Deputy Attorney General David Newton. I found out yesterday that David has found, I think, a good career move, a positive thing for himself and his family, and so he won't be serving as our DAG anymore. I've learned a lot from Mr. Newton. Primarily, don't mess with him until his area is set up. That's a good lesson. I might have to try implementing that. I've also learned that if I'm about to get myself in trouble, he usually starts off a sentence with something that starts with, someone who looks suspiciously like me might call someone who looks suspiciously like you, and we might have a conversation. So I've learned his nuances in keeping me out of trouble, and I surely appreciate that. He's always got a very good perspective on what we do. He understands our issues. It's going to be a tremendous loss not to have his experience and knowledge. And I wanted to emphasize, and again, this is something that goes unnoticed, but he sits here in the meetings and is very quiet and just keeps an eye on us. But in between the meetings, I know he's an invaluable resource to both the department and the commission in making sure that we're true to our mission of being public servants and serving by all the state's laws, regulations, and making sure we're transparent and open with the county advisory boards and the public. And so, David, I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for your years of service and also your friendship and your perspective. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Leaving the Department of Wildlife as a client was the hardest part of the decision whether I was going to take this new path or not. It's been out a little over 11 years that I've been working with the department and the commission. As I told you earlier, and as I told Jack and the director, when I switched jobs within the AG's office 11 years ago, or actually 9 years ago, I required basically that I was going to keep the department with my new job. I've always been interested in what the department and the commission do. I've learned a great deal working with both groups. It's made me a better attorney. It's also made me a better person. I appreciate the integrity that all of you approach your jobs with, and it's made my job real simple. I'm going to very much miss working with the department and with the commission.
Thank you. Director Wadsley, anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, Chairman Drew. It'll be difficult, if not impossible, to replace Dag Newton and his insight. As indicated, 11 years. Seen a lot of interesting changes occur within the commission, within the department, a lot of emerging issues that historically weren't even on the agenda. So I anticipate having some challenges and filling his shoes, but as you said, Chairman Drew, we'd be remiss to not acknowledge all that he's done, and it's been invaluable for us to have that go-to perspective and have that prompt response and perspective that Dag Newton has provided. So, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Mr. Turnipseed. Chief Turnipseed, excuse me.
Thank you, Chairman. Excuse me. Thank you, Chairman Drew. I would just echo those same sentiments. In me getting started in my new position a year and a half or 2 years ago, David was a big help for me, and even if I wasn't calling him directly, somebody in my office was. We were joking yesterday about how Mike Maynard, one of our captains, calls David pretty much every day because he knows what time he's driving to work and he can catch him in the car. So if I had $1 for every time I heard in the office, either out of my mouth or Joanne's mouth or Maynard's mouth or Fiffner's mouth, let's call Newton, because, we're constantly needing advice on a law or a regulation or an interpretation of something, and he's always been spot on that, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
So David, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Additional commission member items, announcements, or correspondence? Commissioner Young.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got more correspondence, I think, this last meeting I've ever had, particularly directed at firearms. And the fact that I just meant a general statement, and I'm on the advisory board, I'll admit it, for the Nevada background check, Nevada Institute for Background Check. I have been for 8 years. I strongly believe in it. I apologize to those that I responded to in a little bit of a fiery manner. In fact, one person who wrote me a letter demanding that I resign tomorrow. I really said some nasty things too, but I said at one point, I wish you could walk a mile in my shoes and understand why I so strongly feel that way. The NRA wrote me a very long letter about somebody in law enforcement, as long as I have, not supporting the Second Amendment. That's bullshit. I have 2 gun safes full of guns. I carried a gun on my body every day for 28 years. I understand the value of firearms, the importance of the Second Amendment. But I also know, factually, because I did my homework, that guns get on the street in this state, particularly in Las Vegas and in Reno, that should not be out there. 2 people that should not be able to possess a firearm. And I don't care what anybody says, we can talk about it later. There are some people that should not have firearms. The gentleman that shot people to death in Orlando, Florida, for example, was on the FBI's Homeland Security / watch list twice. There's a process for getting on and there's a process for getting off. If, for example, background check law that's proposed in the state of Nevada had been in effect, he would have not been able to purchase a firearm during the time that he was on the watch list. However, the federal government, believe it or not, under federal law, he could. It's ridiculous. I went to a gun show up in Reno at Grand Sierra a couple years ago because I knew it was a very large one. I had just finished an off-road race that ended there, and I decided to stay another day and just sit and watch the people that were buying guns. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Obviously, people from the state of California, which were not allowed to buy guns, were buying guns because they'd send in a straw purchaser. A straw purchaser, of course, is somebody that meets the requirements of a resident of the state of Nevada. I watched a girl buy 6 small semi-automatic handguns. She probably had no criminal record. However, the Nevada background check law had been in effect. That gun show would probably not have been in business. I just don't believe that everybody should have a firearm. I drove an ambulance for 4 years. I was a cop for 28 years. I've seen my fair share of shootings. Victims, I've been in shootings. I've seen guns in hands of people that it's mind-boggling that they have firearms. And I understand more than anybody that this law will not solve all those problems. It won't prevent the San Bernardino. It won't prevent the Orlando in every case. If a person's committed to having the gun, they'll get it. But I know one thing, common sense got to come in there somewhere. And the cops take a lot of guns off the street every year, hundreds of thousands. My son, who's a Metro cop in Vegas, a street cop, probably takes an average of 15 to 20 guns away from people a month, he tells me. And they're impounded and they don't get those guns back. Because they're ex-felons, they're people that, it was used in the commission of a crime, what have you. Those guns got to be replaced somehow. But I think as an American, as a Nevadan, as a person that does strongly believe in the Second Amendment and understand its value, I do believe that people should be able to possess firearms. And the thing about the Nevada background check law is any single person that wants to have a firearm, legally able to obtain that, and that means anybody that's not an ex-felon or not been certified by some type of medical professional as mentally ill is able to buy a firearm. It's indisputable. It does nothing to take the rights away from anybody from owning a firearm. And anybody that says it does is a liar. It absolutely does not. I saw the bill get passed by the Nevada legislature 2 sessions ago. Governor Sandoval decided not to sign it. I was very disappointed in that. Brian and I go way back. He's a law enforcement guy. Couldn't quite understand it. It had a couple problems with it, in his view, of transferring between family members. Those problems have been fixed. So I just wanted to let everybody know, because I'm tired of getting letters. You'll send them all you want. Whoever's out there that's a big NRA person or thinks that there's something wrong with my thinking. Maybe there is in some cases, but I know I'm right on this one because I've been there. And I doubt if anybody else in this room has seen what I've seen in my lifetime of crime. If anybody has, step up to the plate and let's talk about it. I'm telling you, there's people that should not have the right in this country to carry a firearm or buy one. And there's only one loophole. It's at gun shows and private sales. If you go down to Shields or whatever, and you buy a handgun, you're going to have that background check. You go over to the Grand Sierra or whatever it's called, some guy that has an FFL, sets up shop and is selling guns to anybody that meets their show standard and is a Nevada resident. You don't need a background check. It's just that simple. I'd sure like people to come and talk to me personally that have a problem with it instead of writing all these ridiculous letters that I could get inflamed real easy, as people know. I apologize again for those that I responded to in somewhat of a fiery manner. But I'm not resigning from the commission over this, and I hope the thing passes this time by the vote of the people. Thanks.
Additional commission member items, announcements, or correspondence? Director Wasley, anything? Okay, I just had a couple. I did get a couple of questions on the trail camera regulation and why it hadn't come back this time. A couple reasons for that. There was a redraft. We tried to simplify it. Chief Turnipseed and I, around some of the things that we heard at our meeting in Yerington, and logistically it did not come back in time to get it on this agenda and get it out to the public and the counties to review. So that's still in the works. It wasn't designed by me to make sure we had it on the agenda after Commissioner Bliss was gone. But just we're working on it, and I'm not completely sure what the time frames will be, but I wanted to address that question. We also, between the last meeting and this meeting, did send a memo out to the county advisory boards signed by Director Wasley and I to address the differences of opinions that this commission had in regards to the county advisory board recommendations on seasons and quotas. This is the first one we've sent since the law was changed that requires us to do so. So if there's any comments in terms of how we can make that correspondence better, or if there's any thoughts from the county advisory boards, I'd love to hear them. I'd be all ears on that. The only other thing I'd like to point out is that our very next meeting is going to include a county advisory board workshop. And so either in the next agenda item or soon after this meeting, if all you county advisory board members have ideas on what we could include in that workshop or things that you guys or your members would like background information on, please get that to me as soon as possible so I can kind of try and incorporate that into the August agenda. So those, I think, were all the items that I had. One last call. Any other commission member items? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close item 15. We'll go to item 16, county advisory boards to manage wildlife member items. Again, informational. CAB members may present emergent items. No action may be taken by the commission. Any item requiring commission action will be scheduled on a future commission agenda. County advisory boards? Seeing none, we will close item 16.